shot up. That is in. Burns the win. Have room to run. Also, this is champion. Toronto is both there. Henry is long running down. Walnut Grove.
Location, we appreciate that. We'll start out today with our head coach, Ryan Beard. He'll have a couple opening statements just about how camp is going so far. Then after him, we'll have the coordinators, starting with Nick Petrino and then LD Scott. And we've got 4 players for you as well. I can see it. Table back here. Thanks, Matt.
Adjust and continue. That's what you learn in the master's courses. All right. Guys, thanks for coming out today. Exciting time for Missouri State football. First, I want to thank Dana and Beth for letting us use this beautiful facility. Obviously, adjusting with the plans and the weather. It's always good to have a culture of people being on your side in an athletic program. They do a great job over here. We appreciate them letting us use their facility. Now on to football. Again, the guys have been on campus for a week now, in the dorms, ready to go, practicing extremely hard. The one thing I've liked about the group is they truly love football. They love the daily grind. They love the meetings. They enjoy, we've had some of the most spirited walkthroughs last night that we've had. It was 8:30, we got on the field and we had a kicking competition between the big skill, mid-skill, and the little guys to see who has to get into the cold tank first, and they had a blast with that, and then we got some work in. And that goes to show their competitive spirit. There's a bunch of position battles going on right now that we'll talk about really, really soon here. But the overall camaraderie of the group is there. They care about each other. They care about football. The staff's done an awesome job being prepared. They worked really hard over the summer to put a good plan together, put a great install menu together. And again, I think that we're going to continue to get better every single day, and can't be a better time to be a part of this program.
Any questions for Coach Beard?
Just stepping into this right now after a week, just kind of what feels the most different? And when you look at this team, look at your position and everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, I think if you go out to practice, the passion and energy that the guys are practicing with is extremely high. They hit the field with a smile on their face, and they're definitely tired. We keep them here for a long time throughout the day. They're working extremely hard, but when you're passionate about doing something, when you enjoy coming to work with your teammates, coming to work with your staff, I think that's given us an extra jolt of life and energy. I think that's a huge difference. And we have about 2.5-hour practices, and they've worked extremely hard throughout. And one thing that we've worked on and talked about throughout the offseason is the ability to finish games, especially in the Valley. You're in a dogfight every single week, and if we can continue to get better at finishing practices the right way. And we talk about it from the very first clap it up before stretch to the very last clap of your post-practice stretch, and I think they're doing a great job of that.
Well, when you say finish games, is that somewhere you felt like when you look back at last season and all the things that kind of went wrong there in that second half of the season, that's where a lot of that kind of fell apart? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you look at the Arkansas game, fourth quarter, I think we were winning the game in the fourth quarter against Arkansas, and then the eventual national champions in our league that blew the other team out in the national championship, we were tied in the fourth quarter. And that's what we go back to, because you have to be honest with yourself about evaluating exactly where you're at as a program, as a team, and looking at those shortcomings from the last season, trying to grow and evolve and hit on those key points of what make you a championship program in the Valley.
Coach, you've obviously been a coordinator, and this being your first real stint as a head coach. What's the biggest hurdle that you looked in the mirror and said, all right, I need to clear this? Or has it just been a process of taking it all in and trying to absorb everything you can every day?
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit of both. I think you certainly have to step back and evaluate the whole program, offense, defense, special teams, and I think it comes down to trusting the guys in your building that you've hired on your staff, that they are capable and extremely talented at their jobs. You're going to talk to our coordinators here in a little bit, and every single person from the top down on our staff is totally capable of doing their job at a high level. They've been Power 5, Group of 5, Division 2, Division 3, every single spot that you can be at as a coach, they've been there. And the one thing I think that gives our staff a little bit of a boost and a little advantage is I love special teams. I think special teams make or break football games, and bringing in guys like DeMontre Braswell that would run kickoffs back for touchdowns and punt returns for touchdowns, and just making a difference on special teams is huge. And we're going to be as dominant as we possibly can on special teams, and that's huge for us. And that, to me, I've always been told that the culture of your program and your football team is how hard you play on special teams. And we're going to fight to the very finish, and we're going to give you everything we got every single play.
I'm glad you brought up culture, because whether it's Pop Warner, middle school, high school, college, pro, every coaching staff preaches a winning culture, right? But how hard or how easy is it to really establish that, in your first year as a brand new coach?
Yeah, it's easy to sit in front of you guys and sit in front of the team and say words, but applying it and being consistent with the usage of those words, the action behind the words is it can be difficult sometimes, but I think when you have the buy-in that we have, and when you have the player-led leaders that we're developing within our program, they've really taken charge of it. You're going to talk to some brilliant young men here in just a little bit from our football team that they have bright eyes, they talk to you, they communicate well, they carry themselves a certain way. We call it contagious confidence. All right, we want them to come in, and when you meet our players, they walk in and they're a different cat. They look different, they walk different, they look you in the eye when they talk to you. And that's what we want to be about, because if you can be that man off the field and you're a good football player on the field, you can handle business when the pressure's on.
When you say culture, you guys have been here for 3 years. Do you even have to do anything to change it, overhaul it at all, or is it just something you've been building on?
We've tweaked things here and there. Obviously, again, we've talked about this at length. I'm not Bobby Petrino, so the way I coach is certainly different in regards to personal relationships and different things involved in the day-to-day than Coach Petrino did. He's a brilliant coach. He's won a ton of football games. I don't have that track record to lean on. I lean on football knowledge. I lean on relationships. I lean on these players understanding that I have their best interest at heart, and I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to put them in positions to be successful.
Ryan, two-part question for you. Is there anything that has been more difficult than you may have anticipated in your first year? Is there anything that's been easier than you may have anticipated in your first year?
I would say one difficult thing, you're sitting at a defensive staff meeting and you're kind of, getting a good flow on the board, talking to some schematics, and your phone rings, and, maybe there's a leak somewhere that you got to go get fixed, or there's something going on administration-wise, but because you, as a football guy, you want to be entrenched in what you're doing at all times. So when you got to step out for, even though it might be 5 minutes, you're still like, oh man, time to go do some head coach stuff and then get back to the football. But that's part of it. Again, that's part of the transition, and it's been good.
Is there any certain part of the offense that you plan to lean on heavily, or is it right now just doing a balanced attack from what you've seen in installs and in camp?
Yeah, we're going to be fairly balanced, but without a doubt, we're going to run to win. You have to run the football in this league. You go against great defenses, great scheme, and big bodies. If we can establish a run game and really invest in our offensive line and knock people off the ball and create a sense of a tough man's mentality, that's really what opens up the pass game. And again, I've been around a bunch of great offensive minds, and I like to listen to them and learn from Jeff Fromm and Bobby and Jim McElwain. The running game opens up those pass lanes. It makes them adjust where you have to stop the run, where you just death by 1,000 cuts. And when they start coming to you, coming into the trap a little bit, that's when your play action comes open. That's when your deep balls work. And I hope you guys can come out to practice at some point. We'll open it up and let you guys come take a peek, because that's one thing I've been excited about is our wide receivers have really made some big-time plays over the top, and we've shown the ability to stretch the field, because you have to replace the guys like Ty Scott that built the program. And I feel good about the offense where we're at. Nick's done a great job, and it's been fun to watch Nick come into his own and Nick become Nick Petrino. He is totally capable. He is a good coach that has a brilliant offensive mind and can relate to his players, and he's going to do a great job.
How involved are you going to be offensively? Just the defense coordinator, you calling plays, just what's your role?
More so game management. So we'll get together and understand exactly the program that we're going to have through fall camp in regards to install, and then obviously I'll have a hand in pretty much everything in regards to game plan. We'll go in, we'll talk about what they see, what they think we can do well, weaknesses, strengths of the opposing program, and then go from there. But in regards to play calling and doing those type things, they're going to do what they do best, and that's call the game offensively and manage their game plan. But I do think there is a time where there's a chance, because again, we're going to play complementary football, that I flip the headset down and go, let's run to win here. And they're already going to have that program in their mind, because again, we've all been together for years. We know what can win in this league, and we know what it takes to win, and I think we're all on the same page.
Cartier's your guy there, running back. Just what have you seen from him to be the one to try to establish that ground game, run the web?
Yeah, we were just talking about I was talking over here with the gentleman earlier, and Cartier looks phenomenal. You're going to see him walk in, you're going to go, wow, man, he's put in the time and the effort to look like you should look for a premier back. And he's been playing unbelievably well, and so far in fall camp, I know we've only been a few days in. The thing with Jacardier is he's got such natural vision. When you look at a running back, are they a speed back, are they a power back? But he's got a nice mix. He's got the big body, big frame to be able to take the punches, but he can also make a jump cut that a lot of people can't see and hit a hole, which is great. And then Ja'Cory Moses is a guy that came in from Western Kentucky, has done some really good things in camp. And then we've got a young stud freshman, Jaden Becks, we call him Jab. He ran, I think he was a 10.68, 10.7, 400 meter in Texas. Really good player. And then, I can't say enough about the group. They've done a good job, because you still have Selden Manning, even though he's been beat up from time to time, he's still totally capable.
Well, defensively, do you have any guys out there that are making business decisions, or you got a bunch of guys out there that love contact?
No, we're getting after it. There is no, for right now and where we're at as a program, we don't have the luxury to make business decisions. It's you're either all in or we're getting you out as quickly as we possibly can. There is no half-stepping in this football program. You can either do it the way that we see as fit to do and practice the standard that you need to practice at, or this really isn't the program for you.
And who are the guys out there that are leading that charge for you?
It's been great. It starts, and a lot of times, different than a lot of guys, I work back to front. I'm a DB guy at heart. So our two young guys, I guess they're not young anymore, P.J. Hall and Todrick McGee at the safety position. They've been here a long time. P.J.'s been here 4 years. Todrick's been here going on his third year. They know me extremely well. They know the demand, and they know what it takes to play winning football. And they've done a really nice job there. And then Allen Love is trying to lead the defensive line. Jalen Williams, Devin Gorey, they're our core group of defensive linemen that have really done a good job bringing the young guys in and understand how we do things and how we go about our business. And then we got to figure out who the linebackers are, because Farron, Minelua, I've almost got it right. That's got to be decent.
Manalua.
Yeah, perfect. Even Big Farron, yeah, big number 5. The guy you've seen as our Mike linebacker the last few years is no longer with us, and we have to figure out who that guy's going to be, because to me it all becomes your Mike linebacker, your middle linebacker is the communicator. He's the quarterback, and you've got to have a big proud voice in there, and the guys are battling to see who fits that role.
I guess last one, is there anybody out there so far you've seen that's been like, wow, didn't think that kid was going to make that big of a leap already?
Well, I knew he had it in him, but, I'll go back to the wideout position just for a second. Craig Burke Jr., he was banged up in the spring, but he has made some monster catches. He's a hard guy to cover. He's all of 6'4" with a huge wingspan. Stetson Moore, a guy that was injured last year, you're going to speak to him a little bit too. Just a huge mismatch. He looks unbelievable. He's going to walk in and go, wow. But he can run, and he can create mismatches, but he's also willing to put his hand in the ground and block, which is great. And then defensively, I think we've just got a bunch of hungry guys, not a bunch of standout superstars that are going to do their job every single day, and then whoever rises to the top, that's who will start.
Offensive line, that has kind of been the question around here, whether it can get there. And how far have you seen it come this year? You guys added a whole bunch.
Tremendously. I'm really excited about the O-line, and I think the one thing that Coach Alvin's done a really good job of is their mindset. They're a tough, nasty group that's willing to mix it up. And I think that's one thing, not that we were missing, but we just couldn't get them past the point of, guys, it starts with you. Every single thing in football, period, starts up front. And we invested a lot of time in the offensive line in regards to recruiting. Brought in quite a few transfers. Still have Christian Loiza here from the old group. Mark Hutchinson, some guys that have been here, but then again, you've got some transfers from Ole Miss, SMU, Tulane, and then some young guys that are coming to show up to camp that have done a really nice job. I'm excited about the group.
Pass rush, we saw it take a step back last year. And a big question going in was how do you replace some of that when Eric Johnson helped so much and went from historic sack numbers to kind of near the back of the valley. Just what have you seen from that group to where that can take a step forward?
Yeah, winning football is pressure the quarterback. That's my belief as a defensive coordinator. And when you say pressure the quarterback, it's more about affecting the quarterback. It's either pressure or illusion of pressure, all works the same. But those guys have been fighting all offseason to earn the right, to earn the spot, to get on the field versus Kansas in our opener. Darian Smith, I've mentioned him multiple times. He's done a really nice job. But don't forget who was already here that was just banged up a little bit last year. Devin Gorey can really rush the passer. Good young player that does a good job. Jalen Williams can get after the quarterback. Caleb Dietland's a young guy to be watching for. And then Caden Weist, one of our young players, has really showed up in camp and shown the ability to really have some juice. And when you talk about Eric, you really talk about, again, it's all about self-evaluation. When you look at our defense and how some of the numbers shifted last year, when the big man inside, Anthony Payne, got hurt early in the year, it was a tremendous impact. Again, everybody sees the outside. They see the star players on the edges. He was kind of our leader, our big body inside that replaced Eric. And we've done a good job of that, replacing him with Armand Wallace has done a good job. I've said Alan Love. They just Tim Brantley, a freshman that you're going to really, really like. He's active. He's a really good player. Alama Collins from junior college. We've done a good job on both of our fronts in recruiting, and they've shown us, they've tried to make us right.
Ryan Siliopoulos?
He did.
Okay. Gary Clinton, what's the update on his health?
Gary looks great. He is at full speed. He's another guy that is just plugging away every single day to get better. He's big, he's strong, he can run, he's physical. I like being around Gary. Gary's a good person. He smiles, he enjoys life a lot like I do. He's a good person and a really, really good football player.
Where are we at health-wise, everybody? I'm just kind of early on. Anything surprising or?
Nothing outside the normal camp bumps and bruises. I would say, we had picture day this morning. I bet if you went out and asked, you could probably prize some bumps and bruises out of some guys. Hamstring's a little tight, got banged up the other day putting uppers on for the first time, but nothing significant of note, so we'll keep that rolling.
Hey, Coach, I know obviously, especially football coaches, you guys take every day, one day at a time, but down the road there is an opening game against Kansas. How exciting is that for you personally to come here, take over this program, and go play a big D1 program on your debut? Yeah, it's great. All you want out of life is an opportunity to do something that you strive and work to do, and that's exactly what we have. We have an opportunity. We know the task at hand. Against Coach Leopold up there, I'm no stranger to him. We played against each other in the MAC, and his teams are notorious for being blue-collar hard workers that know how to play football, and he's a great coach. He's gotten Kansas back on track, and we're going to go up there and do the very best we can, and we're going to play hard. I can promise you nobody in that locker room is going to touch the field that doesn't believe in what we're doing and what we're trying to do when we go to Lawrence.
We're not asking you about national championship expectations like we did a year ago when you were sitting there. Just how has that been with the guys? I mean, you see the Valley poll come out, and I know a few of them are going to use that as some motivation, but just kind of, has it helped having that big talk right now? Just what is it for you guys?
I think one thing that we've tried to do throughout the whole camp, and even the summers, right when we got the guys here in the summers, guys, it's about us. You're going to have positive and negative and everything in your life. The goal to being a process person and being a process cultured group is taking it day by day, knowing that some days, or some years you're going to come out and you're going to be pick number 3. I think we picked number 3 last year. And other years you're going to be pick number 8. What other people have to say and their view of you really has no meaning when the ball's kicked off on Saturday. Just like we talked about earlier, you have an opportunity to go show what you're all about. And if you put the work in and you've grinded hard enough and prepared hard enough and taken each day seriously and gotten better every single day, there's a good chance that you'll put yourself in a position to win on Saturdays.
Who's your quarterback?
ABC.
Any other questions for Coach Beer?
I just got one more for you. You mentioned Caden Weiss, boy, I brought up Gary Clinton. Any other local guys that have really jumped out to you so far?
Yeah, Andrew Link's done a good job for us. I mean, really, really well. The thing with the local guys is everyone always asks about them, and you know they've got. I give them a hard time all the time because a lot of times, like early in camp, they cruise and pack, and we all do it. You know, you go with the guys you're familiar with, and so I have to go over to the lunch table and be like, all right, West Plains, you go to the Florida table. Okay, Reed Springs, you go sit with the kid from Georgia. All right, so we try to make sure to help them get out of their little cocoon because it's tough as young people. You know, you always go with what you're comfortable with, but they're a really mature group. All the guys we brought in, and you know, he might not play this year, but a kid I'm excited about for his future is Cole Forbacher. He can absolutely rip it. He's got a big arm and he's got some savvy to him. You know, sometimes young guys come in and they haven't found themselves yet as people or players, but he stands tall. You know, he doesn't shy away from getting in the huddle and getting the guys going a little bit, and that's really, really good to see. But I'm proud of the local guys. Cooper Roy's done a good job coming back into the mix. And I consider local, even St. Louis, and a lot of those guys have done a good job. Mike Thiessen, Dallas Winter Johnson, Ryan Boyd, all those guys are state champions. And the one thing we did a good job is when you select local guys or guys that are around your area, make sure they're winners. And these guys are winners.
All right, Coach, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you
time.
guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coordinators will be up next.
Shot up, that is in, Burns the win! Have room to run. Also, this is champion. Toronto and Rio both there. Henry is